Good morning and welcome. I'm Sheriff John Rutherford, and I'm joined here this morning with our school superintendent, Mr. Ed Pratt Daniels. And welcome, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here, and members of our board members, teachers, members of the JSO, and everyone. Welcome. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Louis Stevenson from Allstate. It is their foundation that has funded this project through a grant. There's another group here with us today, the Self Movement. And they are a nonprofit organization that created this student video contest we're here to announce. They received a grant from Allstate and conceived this idea. Their focus is on keeping teens safe on our roadways. And I want to thank the Self Movement. Thank you. Give them a hand. Good job. Good job. Good job. Teen driving safety begins with good driver education, and each teen driver being smart when operating a motor vehicle or when they are passengers in a friend's car. For the superintendent and me, I can tell you that prom and graduation season represents a time of the year where we fear most for the safety of our high school students out on our roadways. Anyone who is texting and driving or driving under the influence is putting him or herself in mortal danger. Not to mention the danger for the passengers in their car and the innocent motorists, pedocyclists, pedestrians, and other innocents who may be on the roadway with them. We all know underage drinking is illegal. Drinking and driving is also illegal. Yet DUI arrests among drivers 17 to 20 years of age totaled 192 last year, and that's 5% of all DUI arrests. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that I'm sad to say that number is up by 1% from 183 in 2010 to 192 last year. And unfortunately, very fortunately, we didn't have any deaths on our roadways among high school age drivers in crashes, but there were 246 17 to 20-year-old injury crashes in 2011 in Jacksonville. And that's 4% of all crashes with injuries. And sadly, though, that number is also up from 2010, from 165 crashes to 246, as I mentioned earlier. And while some argue that texting and driving is not against the law, let me just remind you that there are a lot of things in life that may not be against the law, but they are just plain dumb. And texting and driving is one of them. And don't forget, careless driving is against the law. And texting can be a cause for a careless driving charge. Here's a fact from our traffic homicide detectives that I'd like you to ponder, and all of our teenage drivers out there to ponder when they think of texting while driving. For every second you take your eyes off the road, traveling at a mere 30 miles an hour, your car travels 44 feet. So let's say the 3 seconds that you spend fishing for the phone or glancing at the phone screen to read a text, your car is essentially a missile that has gone almost 1/2 of a football field in distance with nobody controlling it. We partnered with the Duval County Public Schools, the Self Movement for this, and the Self Movement for this project, because we do believe that the best way to influence teenagers is through their peers. So let's hear from the superintendent about the project and how much we hope Duval County high school students will show off not only their cinematography skills in making their videos, but also I'd like to remind them to do that safely. Thank you. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Sheriff Rutherford, and it's a great pleasure to partner with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and with the Self Movement. As you know, the Sheriff's Office and Duval County Public Schools partners in a number of areas in order to prevent problems, and this is just one more example of where we're glad to do that. We have about 34,000 high school students, many of whom, if they're not already drivers, will be drivers soon. And so part of our effort is to raise awareness amongst the young people that are within our responsibility as to their responsibility to be a safe driver, how to do that. We're fortunate to still offer driver education here in Duval County Public Schools. Many schools throughout the state of Florida, and particularly throughout the country, have had to drop that because of budget cuts. Because of some specialized funding that was allocated through the legislature called the Doris Schlossberg Fund, When you get a ticket, you may not know it, but you're contributing to driver education efforts. And because of that, we're able to afford to continue to offer this program, and obviously that's critical. As the sheriff said, we're entering into the season where we have proms, graduations, and while all year long it's important to be safe in terms of driving, particularly during those times of year, teenagers may be tempted more to not be as safe, to be distracted, to participate in drinking and driving. And so this is a great time to launch this program prior to those seasons. I'd also like to thank the Allstate Foundation providing $10,000 to support this effort. As we'll hear later, a great way to engage young people these days is through video. That's a medium they understand. They're really engaged and like to do that. Everybody's posting things to YouTube, and so what a great way to get them engaged and involved, to have them creating videos around the dangers of texting and driving and other unsafe driving efforts. This also will provide some materials. We have about 3,000 students to go through our driver education program, so these funds will also help us update our materials. The driver ed is kind of low on the list. We got to get through math and English and reading and some of those other content areas, so this will really help us get up-to-date materials for our driver ed program. And now I'd like to introduce Bill Bade, who is the president and the founder of the SELF movement. Bill.
According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, motor vehicle accidents are the #1 cause of death among young people ages 16 to 19 in the state of Florida. And furthermore, 1 in every 6 traffic fatalities nationwide were caused by a distracted driver. Today, with Duval County Public Schools, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and the Allstate Foundation, we unveil a proactive local effort to raise awareness about the dangers of distracted or impaired driving. This campaign will be in the form of a Teen Safe Driving video contest. The Teen Safe Driving video contest will motivate high school students to stand up to the social acceptance of distracted driving, to speak out as role models for their peers against dangerous or illegal actions behind the wheel, and to make a difference in their communities by pledging to drive safely. The Teen Safe Driving video contest was launched this morning in all 21 Duval County public high schools, where students can compete for more than $3,000 in scholarships or prizes awarded to 10 finalists. Any Duval County public or private high school student or homeschooled student residing in Duval County can complete a 30 to 60 second video on distracted or impaired driving by midnight on March 16th, either individually or as part of a team of no more than 4 to be eligible for the contest. 7 finalists will be chosen from a public voting period on YouTube that extends from April 7th to April 22nd, and 3 additional finalists will be chosen from a local panel of judges. The finalists and honorable mention candidates will be announced on or before May 5th in advance of a formal red carpet award ceremony tentatively scheduled for May 23rd. In addition to the $1,500 in total scholarships that the winning team or individual video submitter will earn, they can also designate in advance a Duval County public high school to receive a $1,000 grant to be used towards school improvements. The Teen Safe Driving video contest and subsequent financial support for the Driver's Education Department at Duval County Public Schools was made possible in part by a $10,000 grant from the Allstate Foundation. By inspiring teens to educate teens, building community awareness, and strengthening corporate and public education alliances, Duval County can set the standard for driver's education in the state of Florida. Today we stand up as community partners. We speak out and act in service of Duval County. And so long as there are opportunities to improve education or the quality of life of our neighbors, will we commit to making a difference in people's lives. At this point, I'd like to ask the Sheriff's Rutherford Superintendent Pratt Daniels and Louis Stevenson from the Allstate Foundation to step forward as we address questions from the media about the Teen Safe Driving video contest.
Yeah. You nailed everything, there, guys.
Great job.
Yay!
How's your meeting room?
You're being too easy on us.
Believe me, they're not.